Hello and welcome to this demo of the Pearson learning platform that we use at Pearson Online Academy and in our Pearson Online School Services. So this is the home page. I'm just going to log in as student one, or Fatima as she's known within this demo site. So the home page here for Fatima shows that she has 4 A-levels that she is enrolled in: chemistry, physics, economics and maths. And you can see instantly her current scores in those subjects and her current progress through the course. So the score is an average of her graded activities, the progress just an overall measure of how far through the course she is. So you can see instantly maths is a strong point for Fatima, economics needs a little work, and we've not yet started on the chemistry. Before we go into that content though, let's have a look at some of the tools at Fatima's disposal. So first up is the to-do list tab. So this just shows all of the things that have been assigned to Fatima and that she currently has due or overdue. So this week you can see all of the live lessons that she has upcoming, a quick check that's been assigned, chess club extracurricular, and some homework as well that she needs to complete. She can also have a look at her activity stream to see all of the scores and activities that have happened beyond those. She can have a look at just her own activities or those including her teacher, and indeed narrow it down to specific subjects as well. There's also this left-hand menu that she can go into, and within that there's a number of extra options, such as calendar. Within the calendar, you can see those same activities plotted out across the days of the week for this calendar, and you can change that to daily, weekly, or monthly. This calendar is fully integrated with, or can be fully integrated with Google and Microsoft, so you can plug that into your existing school setup. There are also communications within the platform. So here are the announcements for the whole school. For example, a sustainability week and a competition that the school is running. There would also be communications directly between teachers and students as the course goes on that she could view right here within the platform. And although we can see a snapshot of her grades on the home page, there is also a dashboard here which can view all of her subjects, have a look at her progress in all activities, gradable activities, her average score, and also her self-assessment. So this is a really great tool that students are encouraged to use by their teachers, just to show from their own understanding or from their own perspective how well they feel they're doing in each course, how well they're understanding the content, their level of interest and their level of effort. And it's a great way of adding a bit of a qualitative feel to the data within the platform that then goes to the teacher so they can understand not just how well the student is progressing and their scores, but how they feel about the course as well. All of that information can then be used to tailor live lessons that will go alongside this content. So let's have a look at some of the content. I'm going to go into economics. So the first thing within economics is the teacher's homepage. So the teacher can put in information here around when live lessons are, any useful links, one-to-one time booking slots, and those sorts of things. At the bottom, you can see all of the content. This is obviously truncated for the demo platform, but the whole A-level would be down here. You can also see what the last activity Fatima did and what would be next up in terms of the next thing for her to complete. And there's the to-do list as well, just of economics that we saw earlier, but only those economics areas. So let's go and have a look at one of the lessons. So every lesson has this same structure, starting off with the objectives for the lesson, then followed by a getting started activity, which is there to spark the students' interest in the topic. That might be bringing in some prior knowledge or just asking them an interesting question around that topic or putting them into some sort of activity to get them engaged from the off. The core of the lesson then alternates between introducing a concept or a set of content, followed by putting it into practice with an activity, just like a formative assessment they do after each piece of content. Every lesson then ends with a quick check assessment, which is a sort of 5 or 6 multiple choice questions, just to check their overall understanding. And again, all of that information goes back to the teacher, but with a quick check typically used as part of the overall grading for the course. So let's go and have a look. So you see the lesson objectives would simply lay out what that lesson is going to cover, but also include some key definitions that would be useful to know before starting that content. Next up, we have the getting started activity. So in this instance, we can see that Fatima is being asked to consider how consumers typically behave, and in particular being asked which of the following types of consumer behavior do you think are often observed? So she's got to select the right answers there. And that just gets her thinking a little bit around consumer behavior and how it might be monitored and studied in economics. So our options here are regular shopping activities, such as how regular people shop, impulse decisions there, putting things near the checkout, if shopping with friends, making decisions influenced by our friends. All of these sound right. And consumers are not always happy with buyer's remorse at the end there as well. So I think this is probably one of those where everyone is the right answer. And indeed it is. And so you can see this feedback pops up here, talking a little bit more about what she's just gone through. Should then move on to the first piece of core content in this lesson. So this is going to be on rational decision making, and it's going to introduce the concepts of rational decision making from the perspective of consumers, and in this case utility. You can see the definition there again of utility, and from firms, where they look more at profit. And again, you can see that definition of profit. There's also a worked example of how to calculate profit by taking total revenue and subtracting total costs. Once she's been through that content, she's then going to have an activity to put that into practice. And as I say, this is more of a formative assessment than a test, but it's really about building up her knowledge as she goes through the lesson. So when shopping, a rational student will aim to buy the running shoes that maximize their utility. Profit is total revenue minus total cost. If owners of firms act in a rational way, choices are made to maximize profit. In most economic models, it is assumed that firms will maximize profit. Maybe I've got one of them wrong. Nope, they're both right. Excellent. So you can see that's the sort of activity she'd be doing, just putting into practice what she's done. I'm not going to go through all of that because we are just sort of demoing today. She would, after having done that, then do a similar thing on irrational behavior. So you can see again a number of concepts like herding behavior and inertia are introduced, third click-through, as well as framing. And at the end of this lesson, there's also a video on nudge theory. After she's done that, she'd then complete a quick check to cement her knowledge for that lesson. So coming out of economics for a moment, I'm going to just have a look at another couple of types of content within chemistry. So again, with chemistry, you can see this bespoke information from the teacher, her to-do lists and activities. And let's just jump into activity 2 here of lesson 2. This shows a different type of interactive that we use within the site. And there are various different forms that are bespoke to the different bits of learning that are required across all of our A-level courses. So this one in particular is a equation balancing tool, which hopefully will load in just a moment, which would test Fatima on her ability to balance equations. So you can see here she can go for an introduction if it's her first time doing it, or dive straight into the game. So I'm going to go into the game. I'm going to pick level 1. So I'm being asked here to balance this equation by adding in units of, I don't know what that would be. I'm sure some of the chemists out there might be able to explain that one, but ultimately it's going to be put into carbon monoxide and hydrogen. So I'm trying to balance the two. I can see on this side, one of those has, I think, 4 units of hydrogen. So I'm going to need 2 there. It has 3 units of, 1 unit of carbon, 1 unit of oxygen. So I think that might be it. Yes. Just an example of a different kind of activity that she would have to do as she's working through. Another question we get a lot is how we cover science practicals. So I'm just going to dive into that as well. So to do practicals, we basically broke down the practical procedure into a number of steps, which were then filmed and recorded and put on the platform. So this would take her through each of the practicals for the course, step by step. So if I just jump into this.
1 mole of carbon dioxide gas. In the experiment, we react calcium carbonate with ethanoic acid. This reaction produces carbon dioxide gas, which we collect over water.
So you can see it's just introducing what this particular practical is going to be. This would then conclude with a question that she would be asked. she can then put in the information below before going on to the next part of the practical, where you'd be able to see some of the students, there's another question there, completing this activity, as you can see. So that's how we cover practicals. So I hope you found that useful. That's just an introductory demo to our online platform. Do get in touch if you want to know more or have a demo yourself. Thank you.